Coach Farouk, thank you very much for your time, and congratulations on an emphatic 5-1 win. Can you please have the assessment, your assessment of the game, please?
Well, I think we started well by keeping possession, by looking to penetrate, get in between the lines, looking to get in behind them. They played with a high line. I think we have a lot of young players. In fact, we have 7 boys that are 16 years old, and it's sometimes difficult for them as far as tactics are concerned to understand how to deal with a high line. But I think it's work in progress. I think they're going to learn in time how to exploit the space left behind. But be that as it may, I think the score is not a true reflection. I think we could have scored many more goals. To be fair to them, they also had moments. We made some errors, and that comes with youth. You know, when you develop young players, you must expect them to make mistakes as long as they learn from those errors. And we need to exercise patience with these players, because these players are basically players that are going to be the future of South African football.
Coach, mentioning that you have a lot of young boys here, and one of them was Nova. He was brilliant, but they kept on kicking him left, right and center. Ended up having to be substituted because the ankle couldn't carry him anymore.
Yeah, that's a sad part, you know, and I say they have to learn to ride those tackles, but my heart stops a beat every now and again, because you got Nova, who's brilliant on the ball, you've got KG, who's brilliant, you've got Kahi, who's brilliant on the ball, you've got Amor, I mean Jali. I mean, these are all players that have so much skill that you don't want to restrict them and say let go of the ball, play 1 and 2 touch, because then I will be actually destroying the talent. So I ask them to express themselves, as long as they do it at the right time, in the right place, and you know, in a way where they complement each other. And this is what I wanted to see more of them. Combination play, more third man movement, more runs in behind, which they did brilliantly. But as you said, they became targets of very physical play, and this is every week. You know, when teams play against these youngsters and they see how they play, I think their only resort to is violent play or aggressive play. And let's hope, you know, we don't get any major injuries.
They are definitely learning, because I've noticed with KG, if you look 2 years back, he was, you know, he was a bit scared to go into these few challenges. Now he goes in, he uses his body to shoot the ball.
Yes.
And at times, I think it was the last game I was here, he was playing as a 9, being able to play with his back to goal.
Yes.
How important is it to vary their positions during this phase of development?
Well, as you've seen in the game, I mean, you had Amor playing in 3 different positions. Played as a left attacking player, he played as a left back, and then he ended up playing as a number 6. And I do that constantly, sometimes out of need, because we don't often find the quality we're looking for in players. We still need a couple of good central defenders that can play, because our belief is that our 2 centre backs and our goalkeepers are our playmakers. So we start with them, and they have to know how to play with their feet. And we constantly change positions around. Today you found Masha playing as a right back, which is not his position. He's more of a striker. He'll score a lot of goals. We could score double the amount of goals. But I think it's good for Masha to play in these positions, because then they understand what it is to play in those different positions. And one day, when they are expected to do so, they will do so very effectively.
Excellent. Coach, I think after you scored that 3rd goal, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, I think I heard you asking one of your defenders, what's the score now? And he responded by saying 0-0.
Yeah.
What is that about?
Well, you know, you go up at 3-0, and I believe once you focus on the score, you would tend to defend the 3-0. I don't want them to defend the 3-0. I'm not coming here to win this league. I'm not coming here to defend the score and win matches. I'm coming here to ensure that these boys learn to play the game at a level which is a level of excellence, a level of where people will say, no, this player is a player that can play in the professional ranks in a couple of years' time. So I encourage them to be able to be not individualistic, but to express themselves. And I think that comes back to all our great players. I mean, can you imagine during the time of Jomo, during the time of Kaiser, they were able to express themselves, and as South Africans, we've changed that. Today, you find many of these teams we play against play percentage football, over the top, second ball. And those players are never going to be able to play in the top leagues one day, because they never hone the skill of keeping the ball, dribbling, challenging with the ball. Those are skills that you need to nurture. But more so, I said to them today, there's 2 things: policy and implementation. And implementation and policy, they are coexistent. So you can't have a policy without implementing it, and you can't have an implementation without a policy. Policy meaning a game model. And this is what we want to get together. We want to get across that whatever we do in training, we bring it into the game. Lots of people talk about ball retention. Lots of people talk about playing as an attacking unit, defending as a block, counter pressing. But we do it practically in training, and we look to bring it across in the training. As you saw today, in moments they looked phenomenal with the combination, and that's what my aim is ultimately, to make them a team that plays with confidence and self-belief. A good example is to play like the Sundowns. I don't want to talk about Barcelona. I think in South Africa we have a team that plays that type of football. So my aim is to emulate that type of football.
Last one, coach. In your post-match briefing with the boys, I think it was like in a classroom. They were raising hands, you were asking questions. What was that about, and how important is it for their development?
It's extremely important. I do the same in training. It's not one direction conversation or communication. I always ask for inputs. I always ask them, what do you think? What did you learn today in training? How can you implement it? Because if you don't do that, you're not developing the football brain. And I was mentored by the late Ted Dimitro, and he emphasized the football brain. So that's why it's very important for me to ensure that I don't only develop the technique and the skills, but also the decision making and the football brain.
Excellent, coach. Thank you very much. Always, it's like I'm in class whenever I speak to you.
Always a pleasure, sir. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.